All right, we live. We're live now.
Oh man, we're live.
We're
It's
live.
great. Doing
We're
great.
breaking new ground, right?
We are. We are.
We are. I just got the notification.
Simultaneous stream.
You said the catch up with John and Dennis.
Is it on there? Is it? What?
Yeah. You spelled
It
your own name
shouldn't
wrong.
be.
Man. I don't know.
That shouldn't be right.
Catch up with John and Denise.
It's probably just because it's shortened.
Oh, I probably paraphrased it. Yeah, just for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
You just
Sorry.
you're just trying to give me a nightmare, man.
Oh, let's get this. Let's get this shared over on our platforms too.
Of course, man. Of course.
I'm gonna share
like always.
Yeah.
Gotta let people know what's going on.
I'm gonna share the Facebook posts. Of course. I think it makes the most sense, don't you? Yeah. Hello.
There we go.
Yeah.
And we're good. I'm all shared.
Did you
Which is
you share
funny.
the Facebook post?
Yeah, shared the Facebook post.
Awesome.
Should be coming up here. So good to go, man.
Cool. We're doing good things, man.
Let the
very
people
good. Gotta let the people know, man. Gotta let them know what's going on. So yeah, this is new ground for us. We're simulcasting over on our YouTube page right now. So what's going on YouTube, people? Super excited to be in touch with you guys. Denison, you can see the chat because Denison's running the stream on that. You can see the chat on your end, right?
Yep, I can see the chat on both, so we're good.
Awesome. So Facebook or YouTube people, jump in right now on the chat. Let us know what's up, what you're doing on Friday night. Obviously, you're watching us right now. But guy weekend plans, let us know. If this is your first time jumping on the stream, we're super excited because this is episode 3 of season 4 of the Catch Up Podcast. What that means is every episode is fan driven. That means whatever topics you have, whatever's been trending in your world, whatever has had you talking all week, maybe you look back and you think, man, I keep talking about this thing. I keep thinking about this thing, right? Obviously, Ukraine is on the mind for a lot of us right now, but and we did get a suggestion related to that too, or a submission related to that. But yeah, we got a ton of great submissions for you guys, and we're really excited to get to them over the next several weeks. But definitely leave us your comments, leave us your topic submissions, leave us what's going on in your world in the comments section down below. We'll get to it on air or after the show. It doesn't matter. But wherever you're watching to us on live stream, let us know what's been trending in your world. It can be news related. It can be personal. It can be, you'll actually find out, there really is no limits. Like today, we're going to talk about the Enneagram, right? This was a submission from our good friend, Russell Rawlins. He has shot several photos of no signal and abandoned Kansas, which is cool. Very great photographer and videographer. So, he submitted this, and really it just opened up a can of worms for me because the Enneagram, you always hear people ask so often, what Enneagram are you? What do you know what that? And I always want to know, why does it matter? I want to know why. And so of course we're going to try to come at it from all angles so it doesn't sound like we're just bashing Enneagrams. Okay. But because there definitely is some positives, but we're going to talk about what they are. I actually have a list over here of either 9 different types, and a very quick synopsis of each. We're going to touch on what each one is, why people would want to do this test, and what it can mean for you finding out what Enneagram that you are. So we have a lot of good things to touch on. Denison, are you excited, man? I don't know. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I think this is going to be really cool. I think it's going to be, I think I'm going to learn more about this than I knew before.
Yeah.
because I've already learned something new. I've actually had only one person ask me, uh, "What Enneagram are you?"
Yeah. Yeah. Really.
um, yeah, yeah.
Listen,
So like this is uncharted territory right now.
yeah. I've had double digits to ask me, man. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It's almost like a rite of passage up here in hipster Wichita. But but no, it really there are a lot of interesting discussions that can come from it. So we definitely want to get into it. We're really excited to do it. Before we start recording for the audio listeners, I want to
hmm
remind people the best way to support us. And Darian jumping on the live stream. Good to see you, man. But the
hmm
best way to support us, obviously, is this live stream. Wherever you are, subscribe and jump in real time on the discussion. Let us know what's going on in your world and what has you talking, like I was saying earlier. The other best way is leave us a rating and review. Um, or if you're, on the YouTube stream, hit subscribe, man. That's
Yeah.
really, those are
Hit
the biggest
subscribe. Hit that
things.
like button.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the biggest things. So, and, we're putting search tags in there to try and reach out to as many of you as possible, man. That's what we're trying to do. But,
hmm
we just want to connect and build this community more and more over time. Um, and you'll see why. If you're new, this is part of a discussion that we try to build, have a community, have an ongoing conversation with more than just Denison and I, and make the catch up something we all do together, right? Catch
hmm
up. Um, but yeah, leave us a rating review. Let us know what you thought of the episode. If you're listening on the audio, at another time, let us know what you think. It'll help us continue to grow and really benefit the growth of this channel. And then on top of that, man, our merch. I haven't worn our merch for a couple weeks.
I
And neither,
haven't either,
yeah, what the crap. But
man.
you can get some good clean merch and apparel. Plus, uh, listen to all of our episodes and watch all of our videos in one place. It's nosignalrocks.com. There's a drop down menu, and the Catch Up Podcast is on there, or you can just hit the link in the description of wherever you're watching or listening. It'll take you right to it. So if you want to support us financially beyond just rating and review, that's the way to
hmm
do it, because you get something out of it too, which is pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this is awesome, man. I keep getting new notifications, and we're live right now.
Yeah,
It's
man.
great.
We're
Okay,
live everywhere. Almost.
we're live around the world in your ear holes. All right, I'm gonna hit record on this.
hmm
Okay, we're recording for the audio, folks,
hmm
which are dwindling more and more, and I'm not mad about it, because it means we're connecting face to face with you all more and more every week, which is very cool for
Exactly.
us. So, but definitely want to continue to shout out to them as well. So let's go ahead and do this. 3, 2, 1. Man, we're coming off what was a busy week.
hmm
You and I talked about it separately, but Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, the Olympics are going on right now.
hmm
The whole Ukraine situation is kind of wild. But I want to touch on the halftime show. So I will admit, I'll clear the air here, right? I used to care a lot about who did the Super Bowl halftime show. It used to be a big deal. Now I
I remember
really,
us talking about it, man.
oh, dude, we did. We actually had an episode, right? We had an episode.
You had a whole podcast about it.
Yeah, talking about Maroon 5, Adam Levine walking around with no shirt on. Yeah.
hmm
I think it was called Put Your Shirt Back On, is what the episode was called. Uh, yeah, I think it was. But I just don't care anymore. And it's only probably 20% because I'm not really super interested in the artists. Um,
hmm
and I know I'm probably going to get wrecked for that because people were blowing up with excitement about who was on there, right? But
hmm
before I continue on, you watched the Super Bowl, yeah?
Yeah. Well,
What'd you think?
I'll say I watched it in the end. I actually
Okay.
didn't watch it live, to be honest.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. It was a good game. I gotta say, like, it kind of dragged on for a little bit, but the fourth quarter was fantastic. It was a great ending to a Super Bowl.
It was. It was. I mean, it made I thought it was I don't know, it was different than I feel like Super Bowls um that we've had in like the past. Um so I think that was my biggest thing is just like I don't know, it didn't feel so um I mean, it was boring, but it didn't feel so, I guess, cut and dry. Because I felt
Yeah,
like a lot of the Super Bowls of the past, especially like last year, it just felt like, okay, I already know what's kind of going to
I
happen
know.
for the
Yeah,
most
yeah. And the
part.
Chiefs just did not play last year, so
Yeah.
Buccaneers. Um, which ironically is how the Bengals got to the Super Bowl this year. But anyway, as far as the Super Bowl halftime show goes, what did you think?
uh, it was interesting.
Yeah,
It was
man.
interesting. I mean, I thought it was cool. I mean, there was a lot of talent that I didn't actually expect to be on there. And I think that was probably the biggest thing for me. I think it was more of the shock and the surprise, kind of like you said earlier. You know, it's just I didn't think that there would be. I didn't think there would be a lot of. I didn't think there was for. I actually didn't think that there was going to be Kendrick Lamar on there, which was really
Oh,
surprising to me.
so you just didn't see the promos before because they had announced
No,
that like they
no,
had announced
that's the
that back in
thing.
like September.
As the thing though, I didn't. I came into the half boat or the halftime show blind because I wanted to just try to be as surprised as I could. And so yeah, that
Yeah,
was just surprising. I didn't expect him to be on there.
man.
Um
Ignorance is bliss. That's
yeah,
proof
man.
right there.
Hey, it makes
Ignorance
you
is bliss.
feel a little bit better whenever you see it.
Yeah, you get way more surprised by it for sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, you bring up Kendrick. To me, visually, his part was the best part of the whole show. The way they filmed
Oh
it,
yeah.
the way they synchronized everything, that was wild. That was so cool. But yeah, so the only surprise performance on there was 50 Cent, which I don't know why he was hanging from the ceiling. my, my man's man, I don't know. Here's the thing. So I actually seen somebody sum this up really well. They were like, man, the halftime show was like being in a club, because they start playing one song and they get like three-quarters of the way through it, and then they just switch to a completely different song by a completely different artist. And you're like, wait, what? you know?
That is true. That is very
Yeah.
true.
So that was the thing. Like Mary J. Blige got two songs, but honestly, she had way bigger songs than those.
hmm
Um, and I was kind of surprised she picked the ones that she did. I mean, 50 definitely played his biggest song, Eminem, for sure.
hmm
Um, and then as far as Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre working together, yeah, they did their two biggest tracks for sure. Um, but I don't know. It was interesting to me because I went in with low expectations. Um,
hmm
I do not hate rap at all. I listen to it actually a lot. um, more modern stuff for sure, but I listen to it. But I don't necessarily enjoy live rap performances because I'm like, what's the draw? I don't understand. Entire
hmm
backing track, person walking around basically doing the lines. And
hmm
certainly the people that were on the Super Bowl are more authentic than a lot of the modern people are because they were, um, I mean, they don't really have vocal backing tracks as much. They do the entire vocals from start to finish.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But things that stood out to me was Dr. Dre was getting roasted for messing up his own piano part, like that he's iconic for. Like he
hmm
clumped on the wrong note right when he sat down. He was like, the. He was like trying to find it. That was kind of funny. Yeah, like I said, Kendrick was great. Eminem was awesome. Um, but I mean, he's always good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the set in general was really cool. But what my point is, because I went in with low expectations, just because of the genre of live performance that it was,
Mhm.
I actually ended up really enjoying it. Um, and those songs took me back to when I was in fourth or fifth grade and had no idea what they meant.
Mhm.
you know, so
Yeah, no, I felt the same.
yeah, so it was cool. I enjoyed it, but also it's funny to me. I see people going online and talking about, oh, that was terrible. What happened to the good old music they used to put on there? Or flip side of that, people are like, that was the greatest performance of all time, the greatest Super Bowl performance of all time. And I was like, honestly, it's neither of those things. It's
Mhm.
not it's not trash. And oh yeah, Darian says 50 Cent was recreating the scene from the video for In the Club. And see, no one apparently remembers that. I forgot, but man, everybody was roasting it, making memes for it and all that stuff. I'm like, bro, it's from the video. Yeah. Well, now I'm so anyway, yeah, and so yeah, it's definitely not the worst of all time. I've seen much more boring, less enthusiastic, less entertaining halftime shows.
Mhm.
Um, Madonna comes to mind.
Oh,
Katy
gosh.
Perry. Katy
Yeah,
Perry
I was
definitely
gonna say
comes.
the Sharks, man.
Oh man, Left Shark was a vibe though. Uh, quite honestly, as much as I love Tom Petty,
Mhm.
his halftime show was very boring. It was very boring. You remember that one? We were young. We were really young.
Yeah, I barely
But
remember that one.
yeah, but um, but then when you think of the greatest ones of all time, I mean Prince, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
man, even Bruno Mars,
Yeah, that was a really good one.
the Coldplay one was not good until Beyonce and Bruno Mars came out, and that was awesome, right?
Yeah, that was
Those were both awesome.
that was really good.
Yeah.
I kind of, I mean, aside from the controversy of the halftime show, the Janet Jackson and
Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake, that was actually pretty good.
I know. And actually, I'd forgotten that, what was it, 4 years ago, he did it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rewatched that the other day. That was pretty good too. It was
Mm-hmm.
honestly really dope. So, yeah, Darian, he's jumping back in on the live stream here. Says overall halftime was okay, but got a little boring. Um, I really wasn't too bored. I just kind of was. They just had such limited time for everybody. Imagine, it's weird because people will get really hyped up and they know they have a big platform to perform on the halftime show because every
Mm-hmm.
year streams now, it used to be album sales, but streams skyrocket after the halftime show. So
Yep.
they know they have a big opportunity here, but then they're also doing one song, you know? I mean, it's really interesting. So, um I do appreciate that all of it was live. There was no lip syncing at all. Everybody sang live the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool. I don't know if the instruments were live, but here's a fun fact too. Now I know some of them weren't. The ones that were on stage weren't. I don't know if there were ones backstage that were, but Anderson Paak was on stage from Silk Sonic, and he was drumming when oh man, I think it was California. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think that's
I
yeah, I
actually
think
didn't
that's what.
notice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't either, but I saw it in a post later, so it was kind of rad. Anyway, there's just little things like that to make it fun. But for people to get this up in arms and get so bent out of shape about, oh, it's almost like we look at like this group is representing the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Form for the halftime show. I'm like, man, no, it's just entertainment. And quite
Exactly.
honestly, you can still, like, the Foo Fighters did a live stream on Facebook a live stream concert right when the game was over. If you want rock and roll,
Mm-hmm.
watch that. It's still Super Bowl related. That's why they did it, you know. When they had it in San Francisco a couple years ago, everybody went. There was a huge petition to have Metallica play the Super Bowl, and I think that might have been the year Maroon 5 did it. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
they they did not have Metallica play the Super Bowl, but they did have them play the pre-Super Bowl show, which is also a big deal. So I don't know. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And then
That's true.
listen to your favorite artist after the fact. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I think the
But
one with Maroon 5 was, controversial because I think it was I think they wanted like Rihanna to be on there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember back from when we were doing it.
yes. Oh yeah. That's right.
And
And
then
then
she dropped out.
she dropped out because of what she said was the NFL's very misogynistic policies. But I also feel like it had to do with Adam Levine, something he had said about women that was kind of demeaning that went viral.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like shortly after that he did that Girl Like You music video, right?
Yeah.
And the song and the music video, which was like totally hard to try and make himself look better, you know. But yeah, I think you're right. I do remember that now. Yeah, that one was not a great one either, you know.
Yeah,
So
it was interesting for
yeah,
sure.
it really was. But really, I mean, any of them, can you say they're terrible, the worst ever? We all know there's never been an artist pop up on the Super Bowl that the majority of people are like, I don't know who that is. That's never
Yeah,
happened.
true.
And there's a reason for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. So I don't know. Anyway, if you guys are still upset, we can just go back to how it used to be and they have a college marching band play the halftime show. So I don't know. Early 90s, that's how it was.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, we can get the bubble bowl going on. Get SpongeBob to
Ooh,
come and do it, man.
now if you want to talk about objectively the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time, yeah, it would be the Bubble Bowl performance.
The Bubble Bowl, man, that was dope.
Sweet, sweet victory, yeah. That needs to happen, man. I would love for that to happen.
Oh, that'd be so amazing.
I don't know. That'd be an iconic performance. They need to do that next year for like 20 years since the Bubble Bowl.
Yeah.
Be pretty rock and roll. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get into our topic. So, for those who don't know, we are doing season 4 from here on out for the rest of this show is all viewer submitted topics. That means that whatever's going on in your world, whatever you find yourself continuing to talk about or think about throughout your week, we want to hear about it. Whether you leave it in a comment on our live stream, which of course we are live streaming on Facebook right now, and YouTube actually. Breaking new ground over there too. We're live streaming, simulcasting into your living room.
Simulcasting, man.
Yeah. So, but we want to know about it, or you can leave it in a rating review on the podcast wherever you're listening, or you can DM us at the ketchupcast@gmail.com. That's the ketchupcast@gmail.com. Or, like I said, we're live streaming on Facebook. We also have an Instagram. So follow us over there, facebook.com or instagram.com/theketchupcast. You can direct message us over there with what's had you talking throughout your week, right? So we want to know these things, and we will take these topics. There's no rules to it. You'll find out very soon just how limitless this can be. And we'll talk about on Catch Up. All we ask is that you share it when we do, but it invites us to be able to connect with you in a whole new way, expand our discussion, expand our horizons. Everybody grows together a little bit. It's a really cool opportunity. So, with that said, this week's topic is Enneagrams. Okay. So, Enneagrams, what are they? That's not going to be the focus of this, but we are going to explain what it is. It's almost like a personality test, you know. and but it's deep, it's thorough, and the evaluation appears to be really accurate. So much so that many people live their lives by whatever they are. Enneagram 1, 3, 5. There's 9 different Enneagrams that you can follow, okay? But that's exactly the other part of it that we're going to come at this from is what does it mean to know that? How does that benefit your life? Why is it that people are living their lives like this? Or by this, I should say. How can it benefit you to know what Enneagram you are? And we'll dive into what each one is and what we are too. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. We're very excited to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Oh yeah.
My
That's a
nose
nice
getting
transition right there.
Oh man, it was clean. It was clean. Yeah. For those of you, if you're watching the YouTube live stream, we do want you to jump in the comments and let us know.
Please do.
But we also the other part of this is you get a little behind the scenes of what we do. So that means all of the coughs and sniffles and stupid jokes we make. You get firsthand premium access. We really should make this a YouTube premium page. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on, man. Catching some.
You good? You good? Because the allergies trying to get you?
Probably are, man. I swear. I already had the booster shot about a month ago, and I done got COVID around that time too, even though I said negative, but I had all of the positive qualities of it. I don't know. I do not
you
know.
Sure they weren't all the negative qualities?
Aha. That's what you did there.
Wow.
Yeah. No, Darren also he left another comment here. He said, "I'm glad they didn't do a Tupac hologram. They could have. I mean, Tupac hologram's been touring for a while, man. You know, and actually, that's a really good point because if they did, I think there's a lot of people that aren't aware of that. You know, that there's Tupac hologram. That would have been a game changer. That would have. I wouldn't have liked that for the sake of live music. You know,
no,
that would have
I thought that would have been weird.
That to me is like the biggest threat for my profession, my desire, like my dream of being a musician, you know, is hologram live performances and people or just live stream performances becoming the normal and people not wanting to go see it, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
What were you gonna say then?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it would be interesting, and I'm pretty sure that it's never gonna happen, but it would be interesting because there was a lot of already like a lot of flack for the Tupac hologram, as well as they're still getting a lot of like problems when it comes to like a lot of the new deep fake kind of technology, but it's being used in like movies. I forgot exactly what it's called, but you know, where they're making someone super young or whatever like that, so they look exactly like they did in 20 years or whatever like that ago, or bringing back someone completely.
Slayer, yeah.
It would be interesting though if they did something for like Michael Jackson for like a Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, I think there is a hologram Michael Jackson.
Is there?
Yeah, I think there is one of him and of Prince, if I remember right. Look here. Hologram Michael Jackson. Yeah. Michael Jackson hologram at the Billboard Music Awards. I did not remember that. But they did. Oh, well, yeah, that's right. I watched that. Yeah, that was creepy. Then there's oh yeah. No, I don't think Prince has a hologram.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So no, I forgot about that one. I watched that Billboard Music Awards and I was like, I don't like this, man. And like, why would you be okay with that? You know, that is people profiting off of somebody who's dead. You
Yeah,
know?
I know. It's terrible. But I
Yeah.
mean, and this isn't a case for it, but I guess the thought process that I could kind of have is for people who wanted to see the performance live, like when they were alive, you give them these hologram performances or whatever like that. It's the only thing that I could think of. But even then, I still feel like it kind of goes beyond um, what is ethical,
Yeah, I
because
do
that's
too.
the
And
thing is it's all ethics, right?
yeah. That's yeah, I mean, like people are again profiting off of somebody who's dead.
Hmm.
And I just don't picture that people who have never seen somebody perform live are going to be like, oh, but I'll go watch the hologram version of them. I don't know. I could be wrong,
That's
but
true. I mean, I can't think of anyone doing that as well, but to each their own.
right, exactly. Ow. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into this topic here. Let's do our intro,
Um,
patented intro. All right,
hmm
3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. Yeah. Dennis got
Yeah.
me this good, clean camera. I finally got the setup looking right. Oh, man.
Hmm. Looking great, man.
Yeah, looks great.
For those on YouTube, this is probably the first time, at least for most of the video formats, that you've actually heard us do our intro. So there you go. If you want to hear
Yeah,
the
Dennis.
full intro, I usually do. It's fluff.
It's jacked up, man.
um, but if you want to listen to like the full intro, you can check us out on our podcast, or you can check out the actual audio version of the podcast on any platform that is a podcast. Just a little plug.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and hop right into this episode. I already did the
Yeah,
plugs. Actually, no, I got to do it one more time. Okay,
yeah.
here we go. 3, 2, 1. As always, before we get started, I want to remind you guys the best way to support us, first of all, is by following us on Facebook and now YouTube to jump in on the live stream. As always, all of this is linked in the description of this episode, wherever you're listening. But follow us on the live stream so you can jump in real time and get in on the conversation, whatever it is that we're talking about, make your voice heard, and direct the episode in real time. It really is, combined with what we were just talking about with having topics submitted directly from the listeners. It really is a cool opportunity for us to build this community and build relationships in a very unique way, and learn and build these discussions as well. So we want you to do that. The easiest way to support us is wherever you're listening, subscribe and leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing. Each time you do that, it tells the algorithm people are reacting to this podcast, this vodcast, if you will, and we should share with more people. And the other best way to support us, if you want to go beyond that, with some financial benefits, is to go to our website, nosignalrocks.com. That is linked no matter where you're listening. All of our episodes, all of our videos, and all of our merch and apparel will be in one place. We got t-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, mugs, and phone cases. I remember them all this time. I'm pretty proud
You
of that.
did.
And so that money goes to us, not all of it, because we do have to pay a fee to have it produced, but you get something out of it as well. So it's a really cool opportunity. So yeah, with that said, those are the ways to support us. Let's go ahead and jump into our topic. So once again, pretty open-ended submission from our friend Russell Rawlins. Okay. He's a good friend of mine, and he listens to our podcast all the time. So shout out to him. He's a great photographer, great videographer, and newly engaged as well. So that's very cool. So with that said, topic is Enneagrams. Okay. These are a thing that they're not new. But over the years, I've heard them more and more, and I started like, before I'd done one, I started judging people as Enneagram people. Okay.
It's all like
I'm
the
like, oh,
same as the astrology folk.
right, right. Yes. So I'm like, yeah, you guys just think I'm a Capricorn and an Enneagram 9, right? Like, you know what? You guys screw yourselves. But turns out it's a little bit different than that. Okay. So, um, Enneagram basically tells you your personality type. And
Mhm.
I'm looking at a way to try and explain this the best way that I can. But um, yeah, it tells you your strengths and weaknesses and allows you through answering of a lot of questions to find out what those strengths and weaknesses are, both in your work life and your personal life. It's very cool from that way to allow you to know uh, who you are if you don't already, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't really know what caused it to blow up as much. I did a personality test when I started my new job at a local health clinic here in
Mm.
Wichita, but it
Mhm.
wasn't an Enneagram. It was different, and it
Mm.
was Clifton Strengths Assessment, and I gotta
Okay.
tell you, it was spot on. It was dead on. It was like, you're a learner. You like to focus on you have the ability to focus on multiple things, but you like to perfect one thing, or a few things at a time. It was incredible. So I've done that. And it wasn't until recently that I did an Enneagram test. But
Mhm.
the short of this is you answer, God, over 100 questions. I know that.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, and they are very well, at least the one I took, very well worded, very well scripted,
Mhm.
and almost kind of got you in a way where I had several experiences where I would answer this question and I'd be like, oh, I'd kind of lean myself more towards this side, for the sake of building up my own ego. And then the next
Mhm.
question would be worded in a way where it's like, well, if that's true, then what about this? And I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah, you kind of. So it
Yeah.
ended up being very thorough. Um, Now, again, as to how these caught on and blew up, I really don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
It kinda came out of
you said
nowhere.
that you've only had one person ever ask you about it. I've had several.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say?
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, they kind of I felt like they in recent years, they just kinda popped up out of nowhere. Because it's this and the, I can't remember, it was a different personality test where you have, like, the letters.
Yeah. Yeah. The letter. Oh,
Ah,
man.
just trying to remember
Yeah. Yeah. No,
exactly what
I
it was.
remember what you're talking about. Yeah. It was like you're a Enneagram 6 and a something, something D, something crazy like that.
Well, yeah, no, there was yeah, because it was, it was a different personality test where they were like an INTJ or something like that, or I can't remember.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one.
Yeah. I remember that now. I never took that one, but I think part of it was the meme culture. To be honest, I noticed a lot of
Mm,
memes being made about this Enneagram type, and it was just jokes about them. Kind of
mhm.
like, um, you'll see a self-deprecating meme about like a coffee addict or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that type of thing. And so I think it spiked people's curiosity. I know it did for me back in to find out what Enneagram they are, right? I would
Mhm.
also say I know a lot more women that have done it than men. Um,
Yeah, same.
and yeah, and so I don't know why that is either, um, but yeah, so that's kind of the foundation of what an Enneagram test is, right? So let's see. What would you say is the fascination with this? Because here's the thing for me, like if you're truly not self-aware, that's one thing. If you need something to point out what your strengths are, we did something like that when we were in high school, right? And middle school to try and
Mhm.
help you figure out what your profession could and should be, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Yeah,
taking tons of those in school.
as do I. But of course, that was different, you know, and a different goal entirely. But when it comes to this, I have a hard time believing there are that many people out there that are just completely unaware, you know, of what
Yeah.
their strengths are, of who they are as people. So where do you think the um, obsession, passion, drive to do these type of tests, these Enneagram things, to put labels on oneself, right? We'll get into that more in a second. But where do you
Hmm.
think that comes from?
Um, I kind of feel like it comes from the thought process of getting to know yourself, because and getting to know yourself more than what I guess most people would think you are, or something, or what you may think. Because I think a lot of this was driven from, like, oh, it's like you may know yourself, but a professional may know you better than um what you believe or what you are, or whatever, like that. And so I kind of feel like a lot of it comes from that, or a lot of it stems from that, is just that it's like, well, let me take this big professional test that everyone takes, to tell me exactly who I am. Or some people may do it to where they know, like, what they are. They know their personality type. They know the type of person that they are, and they know the strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. But sometimes it's just easier for them to actually see it laid out in front of them,
Sure.
rather than having to wait, or rather than having to just do it yourself.
Yeah. Right, right, right. So, wh- am I wrong with this? I think I've noticed people, or sorry, companies charging people for their full Enneagram results, right? Or even
Mm,
sometimes for the test, I think. Um, but obviously there's a market for that, right?
yeah.
Uh, thing about it that I did was very basic results. And it was, kind of basic personality types, but there was more that you could dig into, but you had to go through some course or something like that. I can't quite remember what it was. Um, but I'll say this. So I mentioned that Clifton Strengths Assessment. I would recommend anybody do it. Honestly, I really would. Um, what I really appreciate about my supervisor at my current job, she had me do it so she could understand the best way to manage me. Okay. And
Hmm.
that's the thing about this is it gives you what your strengths are, and then it tells you how to make the most of those strengths, right? How to
Yep.
build upon them. Whereas typically this personality type thing does not. And so to kind of lay this out, I want to jump into what the different types are. Okay, so there's 9 different Enneagram types,
Yep.
and I'll go down the list here. Number 1. Now, actually, yeah. No, I'll say this first. Yeah, number
Okay.
1 is the reformer. That is a rational, idealistic type, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and a perfectionist. Right. Number 2 is the helper, caring, interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people pleasing, and possessive. 3 is the achiever. Um, oh man, I just remembered what my actual Enneagram type is. We'll come back. I lied to you earlier. Um, the success oriented, pragmatic type, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image conscious. Okay. Um,
Mm,
4 is the individualist, the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self absorbed, and temperamental. That doesn't really sound very kind. you
yeah.
know, you would
Hmm.
think being an individualist could be a positive thing, but they really don't make it seem that way here. Um,
No.
number 5 is the investigator, intense, cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. Number 6 is the loyalist, committed, security oriented type, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. Half of that sounds great, but then the other half sounds like they can't trust nobody.
Yeah. Exactly.
No how. Number 7 is the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. And number 8, the challenger, the powerful, dominating type, self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. And last, number 9, the peacemaker, the easygoing, self-effacing type, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. So complacent typically is a negative connotation,
Yeah.
but you could also mean content with where they're at in life. So anyway, those are the 9. Now, what were yours? You took this test, right? You know what you are? Okay. So
If I
what is it?
remember correctly.
I think, yeah, me too. But I think we're gonna, yeah, go ahead.
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I was either, that's the thing, I can't remember. I truly don't. So I think I was either a 2 or a 9.
Okay.
Um I just I cannot think of exactly what it was, but I think I was the 9.
So
Um
2 is the peacemaker, or I'm sorry, 2 is the helper,
2 is the
and
helper.
9 is the peacemaker. Okay. So
Mhm.
helper, caring, interpersonal, generous, demonstrative, people pleasing, and possessive. Um,
Mhm.
know what that means for possessive. um, but yeah, you know,
Now it does go into a little bit more, in depth on these, because I think what it's supposed to do, right? It gives all of these um adjectives to describe who this person would be. But I noticed that the last couple of them are the weaker side, right? Because I noticed, because when you really look into this, right, there's two different versions of this person. It's or this type of personality or whatever, because it's supposed to be like the uh healthier, because it goes into healthy and then non-healthy, essentially. So like the healthier side is all of those more positive words, those more positive types, essentially. But then the um the essentially non-healthy individual or non-healthy version of this personality type is supposed to be more of the, the demonstrative, people pleasing, the possessive, all that other good stuff, or it goes into that. I think that's how they are essentially how they try to section it off.
yeah, yeah. Well, which is interesting about this is I'm scrolling through what the helper is right now.
Hmm.
Um, First of all, there's a couple of different that you can kind of change to in moments of stress or in moments of growth. An
Hmm.
8 for stress, 4 for growth. You're kind of tied to these, meaning you have characteristics of them, uh, depending on the situation. If you are a 2, they also give uh, they give famous people examples. So you and Stevie Wonder are both 2s, man. I'm just gonna assume you're a 2 for the sake of this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know when Stevie Wonder filled out his Enneagram. He
Hmm.
definitely had to have some help doing it for sure. Um, but it even goes so far as to say what your addictions are: abusing food and over the counter medications, binging, especially on
Wow.
sweets and carbohydrates, overeating from feeling, quote, love starved, and in extreme cases, bulimia, and hypochondria to
Wow.
look for sympathy. I, are people hypochondriacs because they want people to be sympathetic towards them?
I feel like not, but who knows? Maybe.
I don't know. I
It
definitely am a
brings a
hypochondriac for no reason like that. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey, it brings a whole new meaning to being a hypochondriac.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you're afraid of germs, but you want people to surround you with love, it seems
Hmm.
counterintuitive.
Got
So, before I get into my next point, which hinges on the addictions, okay, I am a 2 as well,
mm.
the helper. Wing 3, which means that you have characteristics of both, but you're leading with a 2. 3 is the achiever. Okay. So basic fear of being worthless, basic desire to feel valuable and worthwhile, right? Um, Enneagram 3 with a 2 wing is the charmer. So
Mm-hmm.
Caesar Augustus is an Enneagram 3. What a guy, man.
No, man.
He didn't have a happy ending, but Muhammad Ali, yeah, just me and Muhammad, bro. So Paul McCartney, let's go. I got right
Hey,
there
there
he
you
is.
go.
Yeah, he's right there. He's right there on the live stream. There he is. Um, so yeah. Anyway, achievers. Actually, let me step through some of these same things here. It even gives
Mm-hmm.
you levels of development, right? So it can tell you at your healthy level if you are an Enneagram 3, an achiever.
Mm-hmm.
At your best, you are self-accepting, inner-directed, and authentic. Everything is as that seems to be modest and charitable, self-deprecatory humor. That's a hard word to say, and fullness of heart emerge. Right now, the worst. There's 9 levels here. The worst is level 9, becoming vindictive, attempting to ruin others' happiness, relentless, obsessive about destroying whatever reminds them of their own shortcomings and failures, psychopathic behavior generally corresponds to narcissistic personality disorder. Holy crap. I'm glad I'm
Oh
only a
man,
wing
bro,
of
you got to be
this.
careful.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm only a wing of this. I'm glad this isn't my main thing. But holy crap. So, what is narcissistic personality disorder? In which the person has an inflated sense of self importance? Bro, I have never. So, I'm definitely a type 2, wing 3, which is good to know. Um,
Mhm.
let's look at the worst. So the worst at their worst for a type 2, which again is the helper, able to excuse and
Mhm.
rationalize what they do since they feel abused and victimized by others and are bitterly resentful and angry. Somatization of their aggression results in chronic health problems as they vindicate themselves by falling apart and burdening others. Generally corresponds to the histrionic personality disorder and factitious disorder. I don't know what any of those things mean. But
Yeah.
so here's the thing, like I've never gotten to that level. Neither of you, right?
Yeah.
Um histrionic personality disorder. This is what I hate about this too. I'm about to bring this up. Sometimes I think this can do just as much damage as it can good, right?
Mhm.
Um matter of fact, I didn't touch on what the addictions are for the achiever. Let's find out here. So the addictions are not
Overstress.
yeah.
Overstressing the body for recognition. Was this working to exhaustion? Okay. Starvation diet. Uh, workaholic workaholism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Excessive intake of coffee, stimulants. What's this? Am
Amphetamines.
Thank you. Amphetamines, cocaine. Uh oh. Steroids or excessive surgery for cosmetic improvement.
Bro, I think I'm actually a 3.
Oh no, bro, you're a 3.
No, hey, but not because of anything after the word stimulants. Like
Okay.
everything after that. But I've definitely overstressed the body. I've worked out to exhaustion. I've not intentionally had a starvation diet, but I forget to
Hmm.
eat sometimes.
Hmm.
Workaholic for sure, and I definitely have a history of excessive intake of caffeine. Um, so
Damn.
yeah, that's kind of a shock. But anyway, I don't know. The thing about it, I looked up that histrionic personality disorder. It says a mental
Hmm.
health condition that affects the way a person thinks, perceives, and relates to others, right? Um, but isn't that just kind of like life? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
there are always going to be factors that impact how you perceive and relate to other people, you know?
Hmm.
Um, So the things about, actually, I am curious about this because I've never heard of this. Um, yeah, see all these things. So this kind of goes back to what we talked about, because it says like constant approval seeking, need to be the center of attention, overly self-centered. I literally know a guy I could say has histrionic personality disorder, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing I want to go back to that we've talked about before is, you know, this mental health discussion definitely warranted, but also can kind of overstep itself sometimes, in that it may make people think they have an issue that they don't, or just simply get in their own head about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because if you label everything as a disorder, right? Like, I don't know. At a certain point, you start to think there's only one way of thinking that's not a disorder, right? There's only one
Yeah.
way of
Exactly.
approaching life that is acceptable, and then everybody becomes the same, and that's not right, you know. And that's why I'm getting on a tangent right now, but going back to that strengths assessment, you know, that just uses who you are and how to succeed based off of who you are, right? Because there are multiple ways to achieve and succeed in this life, right? So,
Exactly.
um, anyway, you know, so that's kind of my thing with this. You know, you talk about the addictions, all that kind of stuff. To me, it seems like it could cause issues where there aren't any, and as much as it does to let you know. So, like, healthy at your best, um, as a type two, deeply unselfish, humble, altruistic, giving unconditional love to self and others. Feel it is a privilege to be in the lives of others, right? So just
Mm-hmm.
understand that there is a dramatic difference between what they're saying with this level one and level nine that's the unhealthiest. Those are not the same people, right? Those,
Yeah.
like, that one person is not going to go from level one to level nine. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but you know, I don't know. It is interesting. This is my thing about Enneagrams. I want to know what your thought is on it. It's interesting to know these things, and maybe like I had with the type three, the achiever just a moment ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, wow, yeah, no, that is me. I totally do that. But now, according to that, I'm supposed to look at that as an addiction, right? As an
Mm-hmm.
addiction rather than just who I am. Um, but not only that, I feel like it kind of puts people in a box. Oh, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
three. I'm an achiever. That's who I am, man. So yeah, no, I'm totally acting this way because I'm a three.
Yeah. You just gotta get
And
used to it.
you gotta get used to it. I can't do anything about it. It's who I am. I'm a three, man. What do you want from me? I'm a three. That's all I
I'm
do is
sorry,
achieve.
man.
I achieve, and I achieve. I drink way too much caffeine, and I have a fear that no one will like me. Like, that's my life in a nutshell. So hope you can dig it. Like, I don't like. Are we supposed to introduce ourselves like this on dates? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
It'd be kind of weird.
right. So I don't know. That is my thought on it. You know, what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess my thoughts on it is I agree with you. I do feel like it puts people in a box, and I do feel like it gives people the opportunity to create a crutch for themselves, right? They can just like you said, like, oh man, I'm just a three, so sucks sucks for that to happen, but it is what it is. When there are clear ways to make sure that you don't get into that situation or whatever like that. So I think it has the opportunity to do both, right? To put you in a box, but at the same time makes you aware of the opportunities that can arise if you let them, I guess. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't feel like it's good for people to feel as though they like in their worst point in life, if they're this specific personality type, they'll go directly to these addictions or the unhealthy versions of these personality traits, right?
Yeah.
um And so that's, I guess, that is my biggest fear. I think the big thing about these is I feel like it's great to take the test, but I feel like you have to have more of like a professional to who actually understands all of this, um, to walk you through it.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
because I mean, like, right now, like, we can read all of these and be like, oh man, look at this or that or whatever, but without someone to properly interpret it, I think in a healthy manner, um, it can leave a lot to imagination. And yes, there's tons of explanations that it has on the website, to kind of help you understand exactly the personality type. But I feel like sometimes that doesn't always translate in the way that we would hope.
Right. I agree. And not only that, but to your point about needing somebody to walk you through this, I mean, these are paragraphs of information here, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and maybe it's just my way of not approaching it in the right way. Because there definitely are some strengths that you can build upon this, and if you maybe somehow didn't know what your strengths were, and you learn, oh wow, I have this ability. That's what fulfills me. So I can
Hmm.
therefore pursue being fulfilled in that way, right? But
Yeah.
the other thing is when things get rough, you're like, well, I guess I just have to ride this out now because I'm a two and it's who I am, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I just have to say that for anybody who's listening to this podcast for a long time, most of you know that I'd gone through some things about a year and a half ago now, you know, and
Hmm.
it took a while to get back on my feet. Uh, but the point is, I've gone through so many different parts in my developmental years of life, right?
Hmm.
That, yeah, maybe you could say I'm that now, but where am I going to be 20 years from now?
Yeah.
That's and I think it is meant to be used in that way. I don't think it's supposed to be a def, definition of who you are for eternity. I think a lot of people do look at it that way. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Like, you will be forever labeled this person.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's who you are, man. So no, I think anything like this can be a useful tool to figure out who we
Hmm.
are and learn
Hmm.
about ourselves. But I just think that there's a lot of other ways to do it that maybe, for me, there's a lot of different things that you can have for resources to help you through tough points in life. But for
Yeah.
me, when I have the ability to get through it on my own, figure out whatever it is on my own, I feel so much more accomplished. Maybe this is my achiever mentality, right? But I
Uh-huh.
feel so much more accomplished and secure with that uh, uh, um, resolution or realization because of
Hmm.
that, you know? And that's really what I just encourage anybody to do is not let other things define you. We do this with music all the time, right? I have friends that hear a song and immediately categorize it in a genre, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
why do you have to do that? You know this. I mean, I love to talk about that kind of stuff, but I'll be like, you know what? This sounds a little there's a little bit blues element in here. There's a little bit jazz element in here, but it's like, why? And that I bring this up because it's kind of a thing that a perception on life, right? Why do we have to categorize everybody? Why do we have to categorize ourselves? We don't have to.
No, we
So
don't. We don't. We're multifaceted creatures. But I think it's
yeah.
just so much easier to do that, right? It's easier to put people in boxes so that
Oh yeah.
way we can process it quicker.
Yeah, for sure. The title of this episode, right? I put don't trust the Enneagram. You're such a six because that's such a six move to question everything, man. Um, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Why pigeonhole yourself that way? So, in conclusion, we don't know why these blew up, except for maybe meme culture. Um,
Hmm.
they can be a helpful tool to understanding your strengths, but maybe not necessary into doing that.
Yeah.
And perhaps cause you to run the risk of putting yourself in a box when unnecessarily doing so, right? So, yeah, I think this was an interesting discussion, one that we definitely would not have had without the submission of Russell. And thank you again for doing that, man. If you guys are
Mm-hmm.
listening or watching, yeah, Darian jumping on the live stream. He says goes to take personality test. I know. Now we're all tempted to do it. Now we all want to go take the personality test. Now we just talked about this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually, you know what? If you guys want, even though I'm talking majorly against it, I'll put the link here in the comments on the Facebook live stream. And you guys can click that link and go check it out for yourself.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'll tell you what,
I'll
man.
put it in the little comments
YouTube.
for the YouTubes, man.
Hopefully, we didn't just create a monster with this, but yeah, it was interesting. Did you have anything you wanted to add about it, man?
I think the only thing that I wanted to add about it was really just, you know, like we already talked about, just try not to pigeonhole yourself into that, because I feel like, especially when I read a lot of these, I feel like all of us can be any of these at one point in time. It just
Absolutely.
depends on the type of environment that you're in, who you're with, or even just like the mental state that you're in. So I think, you know, use these to help you understand like maybe moments that you're going through and how you're processing things, but don't over utilize it. It's very similar to like the love language type of quiz, right?
Yeah. Right.
It
Yeah.
helps a ton to understand like what your love languages are, but those can change,
Mhm.
and you need to use those as just a tool to help you understand maybe not just yourself, but someone else. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. No, I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because I meant to bring that up earlier too. I'm going through these Enneagram types and I'm just like, I have a piece of all of these. Like you said, I've been every one of these at one point or another. So just bear that in mind. If you ever do try to take this test to find out more about yourself, definitely not saying don't, but sometimes it just depends on what it is. And in fact, I'm going to put the other one that I was talking about earlier, the Clifton Strengths Assessment, man.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely recommend it. This is a
That's
great way
good.
to find out who you are, and the best way to build off of those strengths when it comes to a professional setting, of course. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, did you beat me to the punch? No. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So, anyway, this has been a great live stream. Thank you again, Russell, for submitting the topic. If you guys are listening, wherever you're listening, let us know what is on your mind, what's had you talking all week long, kept popping up in your mind. Whether it's on the live stream, whether it's on our email, theketchupcast@gmail.com,
Mm-hmm.
or direct message on any of our social media accounts. We're live streaming for the first time on YouTube, so it's super exciting. I hope that went well. Hope you guys are enjoying that. But this has really been a great episode. And so thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. We look forward to hearing what your topic suggestions are, and we'll catch up with you next week.